Reversing at a slow pace, the prison van that transported murder suspect Christopher Okello Onyum suddenly gained a momentum as if it had been possessed by demons. It took under 12 seconds for the van to cover about 15 meters before it came to a stop, clearing anything under its belly. A vlogger, Ronald Mukhwana, was unfortunately run over as the terrified journalists and security personnel sped off to spare their dear lives. Police indicated that Mukhwana was evacuated to Mulago National Referral Hospital. Those on board the van, among them the murder suspect Onyum, were unscathed. At 10 in the morning, the open court session kicked off with the prosecution indicating that they had lined up 8 witnesses to testify in court. The session opened with a continuation of the examination and cross-examination of Phoebe Namutebi, a caretaker of Ggaba Early Childhood Development Center, followed by Aneta Goe Odong, a coordinator at the institution. They both narrated their ordeal on the fateful day, confirming to the court that they physically interfaced with Onyum, who made a payment of 190,000 shillings for a claimed needy child whose mother would later report with them to provide their full details. However, Goe stated that shortly after Onyum left the admission room, he embarked on stabbing the toddlers, and at the end of it all, 4 were pronounced dead.
I looked through the window and I saw him on the child. He was bending on the child was under him. So for me, I thought it was just beating the child. At the same time, Phoebe had also seen what he was doing. So I ran out of the office, shouting and heading towards him. So he stood up and left the child who was lying down and was lifting the knife towards me. Then I ran away. Then he went back, and now that is the time Phoebe now went and as he bent on the next child, so Phoebe picked a bicycle to hit him.
The prosecution tendered 2 pieces of evidence showing the mobile money transactions between Goe and Onyum and a copy of the receipt. However, the defense counsel objected to having the evidence tendered because of a discrepancy between the receipt and the receipt book, and that the witness was not the competent person to tender the evidence of the mobile money statement. Justice Alice Komuhanji Hauka ruled that the book from which the tendered receipt was extracted was consistent. She admitted them as evidence.
After comparing the two, I find that they are the same. The receipt book is therefore retained, and receipt number 2958, which was issued on the 2nd of April 2026 to Zuriel Onyum for Uganda shillings 190,000, is accordingly admitted, and it is marked PEX5.
However, she declined to admit as evidence the statement of the mobile money transaction, in agreement with the defense that Goe was not the competent person to tender it. The ruling brought a huge smile to Onyum's face.
I find that whereas the witness has clearly described the document by her mobile phone number and the number of the sender and the transactions of the day, it is also my finding that no evidence has been laid regarding the steps taken to having the statement printed. Whereas she testified that she was called by police to go and print the document, it did not come out clearly whether the request was oral in writing, and it also did not come clearly in her evidence as to where she put the document after having it printed. Did she keep it? Did she hand it back to police?
The third witness of the day was a car hire dealer whom the court allowed to be protected by barring anyone from taking his photographs. The witness produced evidence in court showing that Onyum had contacted him and rented out the car for 388,000 shillings 2 days before the attack. The testimony was interrupted in between the hearing as the defense counsels brought to the attention of the court that their client was emotionally unwell. By the time of this report, the court proceedings had yet to resume. Jackson Onyango, NTV.